Good evening. The time is now 5:30 p.m. on January 22nd. I now call to order this regular meeting of the Midland Independent School District Board of Trustees. Everyone's present. Verification of compliance with the Open Meetings Law. This meeting has been posted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, and I certify that the provisions of Texas Government Code Chapter 551.001 have been met. We'll now have a moment of silence, followed by the pledges to the Texas and American flag, led by Burnett Elementary. If y'all would come down and get ready. If we'd all please stand.
Good evening, President Glenn, members of the board, and Dr. Howard. My name is Mrs. Torres Borrego, and I am the assistant principal at Burnett Elementary. The mission of Midland ISD is that all students will graduate college, career, or military ready. In MISD, we work toward that mission every day. This evening, I am pleased to introduce two of our Burnett scholars to lead us in our pledge. I have Harriet Vasquez Amaya. She is a fifth grader and the daughter of Yosti Amaya and Adrian Vasquez. She loves reading and learned English by reading books. A fun fact about Harriet is that she hopes to become a reading teacher and a mom when she grows up because she enjoys working with children and taking care of others. I also have here Lisette Rodriguez. She is a fifth grade student and the daughter of Maria Garza Gonzalez and Ricardo Rodriguez. She loves math because it is fun and easy for her. And her favorite hobby is ballet folklorico dancing. After graduating, Lisette hopes to attend Midland College and become a math teacher. Together, we are educating the future with excellence. At this time, our students will lead us in the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Moving on to agenda item 5, School Board Appreciation Month, presented by students from the MHS and LHS Student Council. Welcome.
Hello, School Board. My name is Reagan Sockwell, and I am the president of the Midland High Student Council. I am honored to be here with you today on behalf of the students of Midland High. As students, we may not always see the meetings, the budgets, and the long discussions that happen behind the scenes, but we feel the results every day in our classrooms, on our stages, and on our fields. Because of the school board's decisions, we have opportunities to learn, to explore our interests, and to prepare ourselves for the future. Being a part of the school board means not only supporting students, but the community as a whole. Our school board has achieved remarkable milestones. One of the most significant accomplishments as of November 7th, 2023 was the bond that was passed. This bond will bring 2 new high school campuses to Midland and a brand new elementary school to our district. But more importantly, this bond will enhance the security and safety across all campuses within MISD. These new schools will effectively bridge the gap between all high schools, including the grades 12 9 through 12. In the past, freshman students were housed on separate campuses, which created a division and made it challenging for them to transition to the senior high schools. This bond is crucial because it fosters stronger connections among students and contributes to the overall improvements of our schools by unifying our student body. During the school board's time, the students of MISD have contributed greatly to the growth of our schools. Participation in fine arts has increased by 20%, with over 6,000 students joining an extracurricular related to the arts. Midland High is full of students eager to learn outside of the core classes. We have a multitude of different clubs, including a culture club, robotics club, and so many more. Students are always looking for a way to be active in our community. Organizations such as the National Honor Society and Students in Philanthropy offer many different opportunities for students to volunteer throughout the community. Programs like these would not exist in our district without the support from our school board and their efforts to make MISD the best it can be. School board, we are grateful for your positive contributions to MISD. The student body relies heavily on you and your decisions so we can be successful going forward in our lives. Thank you.
Good evening, teachers, parents, and stakeholders. My name is Julie Van Heusen, and I am the Vice President of Legacy High School Student Council. I am very honored to have been chosen to speak tonight and to express my appreciation on behalf of the MISD School Board. Unfortunately, our Student Council President was unable to attend this evening, so I am honored to speak on behalf of our entire council. I would like to sincerely thank the school board for the dedication, time, and effort you put into the well-being of our schools. While we may not always see the work you do behind the scenes, we feel the impact every day through the improvements, opportunities, and support provided to our campuses. Your commitment to the construction, growth, and improvement of our schools has not gone unnoticed. As a small token of gratitude, the members of Legacy High School Student Council have signed appreciation cards for each of you to thank you personally. We know these decisions are not always easy, and we truly appreciate the care you show in laying strong foundations and investing in our education and our future. Thank you for prioritizing students and always keeping our welfare at the center of your work. Thank you all, and have a great evening.
Thank you, ladies. Moving on to agenda item 6, public forum. We have 4 speakers tonight. I want to remind the speakers that the board will listen to comments but will not engage in dialogue or take action on items not posted on the agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes allowed under board policies. First speaker, Ms. Burleson is going to call the names.
First is Matt Galindo, and second will be Sarah Collins.
Good evening. My name is Matt Galindo. I'm with representing Peace PTA, and we're here just to give you an update on PTA and our initiatives. This is Monty Galindo, Keisha Henry, and we have several others that weren't able to make it here, but this is part of our board and folks that have worked day in and day out at Peace to fulfill the mission, and that mission is Texas PTA is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families, communities, and advocating for all children. The objectives there are to support the well-being of children in home and in school and the community, promote strong, healthy home environment, back laws and programs that improve education, health, safety, and welfare of kids, encourage teamwork with families and educators, and making sure that the physical, mental, and emotional, spiritual needs are met, as well as ensure tax dollars for public education are used wisely and responsible. One of the things that we wanted to do is highlight some of the work that the Peace PTA has done. Over the last year and a half, I've had the pleasure of and the honor of serving as the PTA president. And in the last year and a half, we've initiated the Ben Carson Reading Room, playground improvements, received a grant to purchase books for the vending book machines, giving each student the opportunity of taking home a book of their very own, purchased and paid for the cafeteria window tint, improving the aesthetics of the building while adding a security measure to make sure that folks can see out but they can't see in, and adding a great house to the courtyard. Programs that we brought to life were all-pro dads, giving fathers the opportunity to come and have dinner with their students and go over characteristic traits that build just strong children into very responsible adults. The Student Advisory Committee, through the PTA members, given the opportunity to be, have part of decision-making. So we meet with those students and they decide over some very important topics like what snacks we sell during snack sales. But one of my favorite ones is a Tiger Care Closet. We provide school supplies. That room is stocked with school supplies to ensure that every child has the tools and resources they need to be successful. And that's open to them at any time, as well as uniforms. In case there's an accident or anything, they don't have to go home, they can stay there. The other thing that we have is Donuts with Grown-Ups that's coming up, and I want to invite you all on January 27th at 7 a.m. at Pease. Is opportunity for you to go and just engage with the families. But one of the things that we want to just let you know is that we're here to support the Pease and Pease students. We have an incredible school community that is strong and has shown us the support not only for our staff and our teachers, but also the PTA and the PTA's work. Quickly, one of our goals this year is to purchase 30 new computers for our computer lab. There's a total of 60 that are needed, but our goal is to purchase 30 of them, and we so far have raised enough to
Sarah Collins.
Good evening, President Nguyen, trustees, and Dr. Howard. My name is Sarah Collins, and I'm the president of the Midland Council of PTAs. I would like to recognize January as School Board Appreciation Month. I have gotten to meet with several of you over the last couple of months, and I genuinely appreciate the time and consideration you put into all the decisions you make for Midland ISD. Thank you for your service, your leadership, and your hours you dedicate to ensure the success and well-being of our students. Your decisions shape our schools, and I appreciate your commitment to public education and MISD. I would also like to recognize the incredible partnership between the district, our campuses, and our families, and the powerful role that PTA plays in supporting that work. Across our district, PTA volunteers are showing up in meaningful ways every day. They are encouraging students, supporting teachers, organizing family events, filling campus needs, and quietly filling gaps wherever help is needed. This year alone, our PTAs have collectively reached 7,217 members district-wide, putting us within our 7,500 member goal. That number represents parents, staff members, students, grandparents, and community partners who believe in our schools and are willing to support however they can. But PTA is more than a number. It's a familiar face at a school event, the extra snacks for teachers during testing weeks, the purchasing of new playground equipment, the family nights that help the parent and the student feel connected to their schools. PTAs help build trust, strengthen communication, and create a sense of belonging. I want to say thank you to the board and district leadership for your continued support of our PTAs and parent involvement. Your encouragement and collaboration make a difference and allow our PTAs to align their work with district goals while still meeting the unique needs of each campus. As we move into the spring semester, MCPTA remains committed to supporting the 38 MISD campuses we serve, strengthening PTA leadership, and continuing to grow membership so every family feels they have a voice. We are proud to stand alongside the district and look forward to continuing our partnership while supporting our mission to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. Thank you for your time and continued support.
Thank you.
Lacey Montgomery.
Good evening, President Gwynn, trustees, and Dr. Howard. My name's Lacey Montgomery, and I am the PTA president for General Franks Elementary. So on behalf of General Franks Elementary, our family, and especially our students, thank you for your continued, I have my notes and it's speaking as I'm talking.
Can you pause the timer until
Okay,
she's
no,
ready?
I'm fine.
Oh.
Okay, so thank you for your continued service and dedication to our students. School Board Appreciation Month gives us a special opportunity to pause and say thank you, but the gratitude behind it lasts all year. I have a poster that's signed by our students as a small token of their appreciation. While they may not always see the hours of work and the difficult decisions you make, they benefit from them every single day. Thank you for your leadership, your commitment to our schools, and for always keeping students at the center of what you do. We are truly grateful for you. Thank you. And this is the poster from our kids.
Oh, nice.
You're welcome.
Ebony Coleman.
Tell your students thank you for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Happy New Year from Jumpstart Midland. President Quinn and Dr. Howard and members of the board, so glad to be here tonight. And again, gratitude to you, Dr. Howard, and the leadership team at MISD for continuing to discuss parent issues regularly and continuing to commit to excellence for our students. Jumpstart is continuing our Math Ain't Mathin' campaign to raise math rates in MISD as math continues to be a challenge for our students. We are excited to work with MISD to make math and reading levels more transparent so our parents can act and support their children. We are also excited that we are soon going to launch our Jumping Brains Academy Math Intervention Pilot. And it's going to serve the children in Midland that are behind in math instruction. So, if I have not met with any of you board members, I would like to take this time to invite you to set up a meeting with me so that I can learn more about your priorities for the district. And my email address is ebony.jumpstart@gmail.com. And again, happy Board Appreciation Month. Continue to do the good work.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7, consent agenda. We have 7.1, approval of board meeting minutes, 7.2, approval of monthly financials, 7.3, approval of quarterly investments, 7.4, approval of memorandum of understanding with Grand Canyon University, 7.5, approval of memorandum of understanding with Texas Tech University, 7.6, approval of amended compensation manual, 7.7, approval resolution for MISD to adopt the Midland County 2025 hazard mitigation action, approval, 7.8, approval of superintendent's verification of compliance with policy EMB, 7.9, approval of 2025-2026 target improvement plans for Abel Junior High, South Elementary, and Long Elementary, 7.10, approval of out-of-state travel, and 7.11, approval of the following revised new policies. Y'all want me to read all the policies off? I'm assuming. It's going to be 7.11, approval of following revised and new local policies. CP, consent local policy update, or CJ local, CJA local, DBAA local, DEC local, DGC local, DH local, DP local, EHBAB local, EMB local, FFF local, FMH local, FNCD local, FO local, FOA local, FOB local, FOF local, and FOG local. Does anybody have any comments or any items they want to pull?
Yeah, I just have a comment, if I may, on item 7.11, on approval of the following on the revised and new local policies.
Yes, sir.
I guess just a question. I mean, it seems like every month we're revising policies. I mean, is this going to be a continual deal on revising local policies?
I could speak on it, or Dr. Howard can, or Ms. Messick.
So in the last legislative session, there were 104 bills that affected public education. And so now that that's happened, of course, those laws went into effect September 1. but the policy revisions will continue to come out. We'll have some more next month as we continue to update policies to align with new legislation.
Great.
And on that note, Mr. Bishop, there will be another batch next month, and that's, my understanding, that's the last batch for the legislative session.
That's accurate.
We moved policy committees to once a month just to get these through and get them done, but
Okay, thank you.
yes, sir. Anything else?
I got a comment.
Go ahead.
So to that point, I just kind of want to emphasize on one of these policies, particularly on discipline. It's you know, legislature passed House Bill 6 in particular, which is going to kind of bring and restore order to the classroom. So we reflected that in a lot of these policies, and it is, I think, it's going to kind of put the onus on parents to make sure that your child is respectful, obedient, and is able to pay attention in class and not disruptive. And so we have some language in that. For teachers, there's lots of strong teacher support in these policies, and they're going to be given immunity to remove a child for certain disruptive behaviors. So this is all because of legislation, but we kind of put this together into our policy over the last month or two.
I move.
Do I have a second? It has been motioned and seconded to approve a consent agenda. All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Moving on to agenda item 8, superintendent update. Dr. Howard.
Yes, so thank you. Piggybacking on some of the public comment and our students who spoke on behalf of our two high schools, thank you this month and every month for the service that you bring and the time and effort and the many hours that you spend that, like they said, people don't always see. We had the first Midland ISD showcase last week. Thank you to those of you who were able to be there. Our students did an outstanding job during the part where our guests were coming through the showcase and really reached out and lured them in to show them what they were doing. And I think there was a lot of aha moments of people not realizing all the activities and opportunities that we have in our schools. So they did a great job. Tonight, you're going to hear middle-of-year data aligned to board goals, areas of growth and on track, areas of focus, and then, of course, every campus has a spring plan in place based on that data that you're going to see tonight. School improvement efforts, I actually shared this with the PTA today during their meeting and at lunch, because these school improvement efforts, as a parent, it really is important because these are efforts that we have in place to make sure that every student's getting what they need. We talked about high-quality instructional materials and the importance of that to, one, make the teachers' lives easier to not have to be going and finding materials and resources, but two, to ensure that those resources are aligned to grade-level content. And the commissioner shared with us on Tuesday at an event we were at that prior to HQIM and without HQIM materials, that on average across the state, 37% of the materials put in front of students are off grade level. Not because people mean to, but because they're pulling materials that they don't have time to vet and reference. And so we're proud to have HQIM for both English language arts through 8th grade and math K through Algebra 1. And then instructional leadership, our TLAC, our Teach Like a Champion monthly meetings for leaders and MCLs. We've had over 15 sessions in 15 months. And that district-wide implementation, to be out on all the campuses and see those implementations across the district and some excellent implementation in classrooms, it's really changing that consistency and the quality of instruction. We've recently reorganized district leadership to better support school improvement. Leadership and teaching and learning have both moved under Mrs. Bueno. Systems streamlined for clear support to campuses. Our coordinators and specialists spend 90% of their time on campuses. And then the goal of that is that stronger coaching, faster response time, and making sure that we better align to the needs of our campuses. On the budget side, we're preparing to close out this year. Last month, you heard the first budget update for 26-27, and we'll bring that next update to you in March. What we're doing right now is our campuses and departments are submitting their non-payroll budgets. By the end of this month, we'll have budget hearings beginning of March. And of course, working with payroll and staffing and student enrollment, and then come back to you in March with that budget update, and we'll do one of those each month leading up to June with the goal and the expectation that we bring you a balanced budget, and we feel confident we can do that. Enrollment, we continue to monitor that. As of December the 16th, we were 419 students away from last year. You know, we've taken a very conservative approach to next year's projected enrollment. And then I also wanted to invite you to the CTE Showcase next Tuesday night and the Industry Expo. That's out at the Horseshoe from 5:30 to 7:30. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Howard.
Oh, I do have one more thing.
Okay.
We are monitoring the weather. We had a briefing this afternoon. We look to be regular scheduled tomorrow. We will continue to monitor it. I know Mr. Taylor has a 4 a.m. briefing with the National Weather Service in the morning. We'll watch that, and then we have a 5 o'clock meeting scheduled on Sunday night where our team will get together and look at what the weather's looking like at that point to make decisions about Monday.
There's a lot of kids with their fingers crossed right now. Thank you, Dr. Howard. Moving on to agenda item number 9, district informational reports. First up, Bond 2023 monthly report, Park Hill.
President Gwynn, Dr. Howard, and members of the board, I'm pleased to give an update on your 2023 bond projects. As you know, we have 11 packages across 34 campuses. Let me make sure this is on here. Sorry, is this the one? Yeah. All right, there we go. 3 packages are currently complete and are shown actually in light blue here. Let me go back up. So those are the 11 packages currently shown, and 3 are complete. I'll run through the ones either in design or construction currently. Package 2 is the 2 new high schools. You can see this is the Midland High site where we've got concrete poured and the site and utilities underway. The next project is the Lee site. You can see the steel structure and concrete along with concrete block is going up, so nice progress being made there, and they are actually ahead of schedule on that project. Package 3 is the elementary school renovations and the fire sprinkler works occurring this summer. The additions and renovations will be on the agenda later to be approved and start construction as well this summer. Package 4, Goddard and Midland freshmen. You can see those are actually under construction currently. So there's Goddard where they're starting to get ready for the building pads and parking lot improvements. Next photo is Midland freshmen, and they're doing the same there. So you can see progress starting in December. Package 5, Abel and Alamo. Construction is underway on those metal building, multipurpose buildings. Package 8, elementary school renovations. That Santa Rita Drive is complete and the construction documents are underway. Package 9, currently in the design development phase. You've seen the San Jacinto renderings of what that would look like, and we've got the Abel addition renderings here to show what that classroom addition would look like as well. And then package 10 and package 11 are currently under design by those architects, and schedules are on those slides. And that is an update on your 2023 bond projects.
Does anybody have any questions for him? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next up, 9.2, Board Goal A update, Ms. Bueno.
Good evening, President Gwynn, members of the board, and Dr. Howard. The following report is in compliance with Board Policy BQ Local in regards to Board Go A. This report is informational and will not require action. Would you blow it up a little bit more? Thank you. So this scorecard looks familiar. So if you remember this fall, we set the baseline for the district, and we set our 2026 goals, and then this is the middle of the year report based on December data. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes for your eyes to adjust to the screen. So out of the 22 targets that we are sharing tonight, MISD is on target to meet 22 out of the 26 targets. For kinder through second grade, the data that we are using is from iReady. And from third grade through EOCs, it is the district-based assessment that we gave all students in December, which was a full release STAR test. You will notice that we are off target in third grade math, fourth grade math, fifth grade science, and eighth grade social studies. I will state that for third and fourth grade math, because of this data, we have repaced second semester, right? So we went back to look at our pacing, looked at the TEKS that had been taught and the TEKS that still needed to be taught, the TEKS that students missed the most, and the TEKS that students excelled on the most. And so we are also ensuring that students are moving to the application piece in third and fourth grade math, and ensuring we are using higher order questioning for those students in all classrooms. Are there any questions over this first report?
I do, I guess.
Yes, ma'am.
So they did take a STAR benchmark, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So a STAR benchmark would have all the TEKS in it for the year.
Correct. And so for third through sixth grade, we did give the full release, which was all the TEKS, and not all TEKS had been tested. For example, in fourth grade math, I want to say there was only about 42% of the TEKS taught at that point. Now for seventh grade through EOCs, we only tested TEKS taught because we use this as the semester exam. And so in compliance with the semester exam policy, we could only test material that had been taught.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question. Is there any way we can get campus-specific data? Do you have that? Or?
I do. I have it in a report, and I'll send that to you in an attachment. It's ready to go.
Okay, I would like that soon. Thank you.
What was the total breakdown? I'm sorry, President Gwynn.
Go ahead.
Well, how many are we hitting? 22 out of 25?
22 out of the 26 currently. You'll notice, Mr. Hodges, that I did not report pre-K because they are still taking that assessment, and so I will report pre-K in February. But out of the targets reported tonight, which is kinder through EOCs, we are on target to meet 22 out of the 26.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any numbers on campuses? How many campuses were, I mean, how they're doing? You know, I just would like, Is that part of what our policy is? I don't.
Got another presentation right after this one.
Okay.
Yes. But I do have that breakdown, Dr. Freeze, as well by campus. I'm going to transition into our iReady report.
Agenda item 9.3, Fall District-Based Assessments, iReady and Middle of the Year Update. Ms. Bueno.
The following is a brief overview of our Middle of the Year iReady assessment. Sorry, there we go. Okay, we will begin. This is an overview of all campuses with iReady. So this is different than the scorecard that I did show for 3rd through EOCs, because in Board Go A, we measure STAR as students performing at the meets level for 3rd through EOCs, but for K through 2nd, we report iReady. So the following math data shows how students performed at the beginning of the year in comparison to middle of the year. And it's important to note that these assessments measure students performing on grade level, meaning first graders are assessed on first grade TEKS. So at the beginning of the year, a first grade student completed this assessment based on first grade TEKS, although first grade TEKS had not been taught yet. So that is what this report will show. So you will see overall in the green, at the beginning of the year, we had 13% of our students in math already performing at grade level. Middle of the year, we have 22% of our students already performing at their grade level, although all TEKS have not been taught yet for the grade level that they are in. The yellow shows that at the beginning of the year, we had 51% of our students who were performing one grade level below. We now have 46% of students performing one grade level below. At the beginning of the year, we had 18% of our students performing 2 grade levels below in math. In middle of the year, we are at 11%. So the end of the year data will show what we want to see here is, of course, the green to increase, the yellow to decrease, and the red to decrease as students move up and we target those kiddos that also need intervention. The following shows you a breakdown by grade level for math, middle of the year iReady. So on the left, you will see 5% of kindergarten students came in performing already at grade level. Middle of the year, we have 43% of our kinders performing on grade level. In first grade, we had 3% of our students at the beginning of the year performing on grade level, and we now have 26% of our students performing on grade level. Second grade is showing 6%. At the beginning of the year, we're performing on grade level, and we now have 26% performing on grade level. In third grade, from 9% to 31%. In fourth grade, from 12% to 36%. And in fifth grade, from 25% to 40%. Now, keep in mind what I stated, that these TEKS, for example, that's second graders they have not been taught second grade TEKS yet, right? So if I'm a second grader, I was tested on second grade TEKS. The program also personalizes a pathway. So if you have a student who's excelling and they've mastered second grade TEKS, they are given third grade TEKS in their personalized learning. Now, if you have a kiddo that is not performing on grade level, then those personalized lessons are targeted to help close those gaps. This is the data that teachers also use to pull for small group instruction. So our kiddos that were 1 grade level below or 2 grade levels below, those are the students that are pulled to for small group instruction so that teachers can target and close those gaps.
President Glenn,
Go ahead.
can we ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Was that 4th grade or 5th grade? 25 to 40%, was that 4th grade or 5th grade?
Let's see. So 4th grade was from 12% to 36%, and 5th grade was from 25 to 40%.
40?
40%, yes, sir.
That's 5th grade?
Yes, sir.
And that all campuses?
All campuses except some are 1882s.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
When you say 1882s, does that include Carver and Milam too?
Yes, so Carver does not utilize iReady at the moment. Milam does, but they did not give the assessment to all of their students. So they did give their assessment to some of their students in math, but they did not give it to all their students in reading.
Thank you.
May I ask a controversial question?
Sure.
Why is Carver not using, if iReady's so great and Carver does so wonderful, why are we not using it at Carver?
So they decide on what curriculum they're going to use and platforms that they're going to use, and they did not engage in this platform.
Do you happen to know what they're using in lieu of this?
I do not know, but I will find out.
Old-fashioned flashcards.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, next year, when I do report, we will, they will utilize this because we will be using iReady for TIA purposes. There we go. In 6th grade, at the beginning of the year, we had 27% of our students already performing at the 6th grade level. In middle of the year, we have 39% of 6th graders already performing at the 6th grade level. In 7th grade, we had 25% of our students performing on the 7th grade level, and we currently have 30% of our 7th graders performing on the 7th grade level. And in 8th grade, we started with about 1% of our students already performing on grade level, and we currently have 5% of our students performing on grade level.
Why is 8th grade so abysmal?
So we did look into the utilization of the program as well. Dr. Freeze and principal supervisors are addressing some of those areas of concern where kids are not engaging in the platform as much as they should be. And we realigned those TEKS as well. So just note that the 8th graders here, the kiddos that are in Algebra 1, they're not part of this data because they did not take the 8th grade assessment since they take Algebra 1.
And you may recall the 7th grade data last year was very low. So it's that same cohort of students.
So we got, I mean, is it just a weak class, or, I mean, this is just significantly
And
off.
that's also why we restructured our course sequencing and how we allow students to accelerate math for that very reason.
I have a question.
I say we let her get through the presentation, and we'll do all the other questions at the end.
I don't know why this is not moving.
Specific date.
So this next slide is measuring typical growth. Okay, so we were looking at achievement, students performing on grade level. Now we're shifting at students at growth measures, right? And so This is showing our annual typical growth in math overall for MISD. 62% of our students are on target to meet their annual typical growth in math. Our top 3 performing campuses on growth, not achievement, on growth, but students, the percent of students who are meeting their typical growth. Bush, with 75% of their students already on target to meet their typical growth. Bunch, 75% of their students on target to meet their annual typical growth. And Burnett, 74% of their students on target to meet their annual typical growth. Okay, now we're going to shift to reading. So this is overall MISD reading. So at the beginning of the year, we had 22% of our students already reading on the grade level that they were in the fall. And we have shifted to 37% of our students already meeting their targets for their grade level. I don't know if this clicker is dying or what, but I'm trying and it's just not moving. Here we go. So breakdown by grade level. So in kinder, same thing to the left. We had 25% of our kinder students already performing at a kinder level in the fall. And we have moved up to 66% of our kinder students on target to perform on grade level. In first grade, at the beginning of the year, 14% of our students were already meeting those goals. In middle of the year, we have shifted to 33% of first graders meeting their goal. Second grade, 18% of our students were performing as second graders, and we currently have 35% of second graders performing as second graders. Third grade, from 35% to 52%. Fourth grade from 20% to 31%. Fifth grade from 23% to 33%. In sixth grade, we had 25% of our sixth graders performing at the sixth grade level at the beginning of the year. We currently have 30% of sixth graders performing at the sixth grade level. In seventh grade, we had 24% of our students performing at the seventh grade level in the fall. And we currently have 29% of our seventh graders performing at the seventh grade level. In eighth grade, we had 19% of eighth graders performing on grade level. And in middle of the year, we have 22% of students performing on grade level. And our progress for our typical growth, sorry, this is, for MISD, so 61% of our students are on target to meet their annual typical growth. And our top 3 performing campuses for reading were with Faskin at 80% of their students on target to meet their annual typical growth. Bush, 80% of their students on target to meet their growth. And Great House at 76% of their students on target to meet their annual typical growth. I am now open to any questions.
Mr. Hodges, I know it's killing you over there.
So my question, going back to the 7th and 8th grade, we had 5% of the 8th graders. So if we have 3%, like if there's 3,000 junior high students, so 1,500 8th graders or something.
Mm-hmm.
are we engaging the coaches? Because based on a 5% number, there's got to be a correlation in being grade ready versus your grades, passing and failing in your 6-9 weeks, right? So how are we, when you only have 30 or 40 kids at a campus that would make up this total aggregate percentage, how are we fielding all these teams? And because to me, that would be a great incentive for the coaches to start doing some academic tutoring, because, I mean, if you reverse engineer this just based on the math, you can prove that there's an issue there that's not being addressed, that we're not prioritizing academics and education. I would think. Just logic would lead you down there. And then I would also, here's an idea for President Gwen, the rest of the board, the administration, does not have to be done now. It's not a hair on fire deal, but it would be interesting to see what the correlation is between the 8th grade and then when they age up to 9th grade, to see where they're at, and then see what else, like what feeder schools. I don't know the appropriate language. It would be interesting to see what feeder schools they're going to as they leave junior high, to see if there's something from a system standpoint that could be, that's just one versus the, and I'm not saying that there is, but I'm just interested to know how we field all these teams with sports when the numbers, I don't know how you would, you just based on the total number of students and that percentage with the correlation being at grade ready versus your 6 weeks grades, how are we fielding teams would be my question. That's it. Thank you, President Gwen. Excellent presentation. Robert has another remote. He kept pushing it back when you were doing it.
I think so. I do want to stress, though, I know, you know, the very first scorecard that I went over, which is our scorecard for Board Go A, is measuring STAR, right, for 3rd grade through EOCs. And then the iReady data, just keep in mind that as a 7th grader, I took a test on all 7th grade TEKS. Although my teacher has not taught all 7th grade TEKS yet, right? So what this data is telling you is the percent of students already meeting that grade level at semester, but we still have a full semester to teach all of the TEKS. So 2 different data sets here. So just know with the iReady, it is to lead our instruction as well, but also to tell us how many kids are already on grade level. But really, most importantly, it's the kiddos that are 2 grade levels below, to ensure that we are pulling those kids for small group, after school tutoring. And Mr. Hodges, I do know, I believe it's Alamo, Tricia, correct me if I'm wrong, they're using their coaches to do after school tutoring based on this data. And so coaches are coming in and actually teaching math, that area of concern or area of opportunity. But I know Alamo is using their coaches because it's part of their spring plan.
Booker said he's going to find out where the purple junior highs are.
Okay. And Goddard? Okay. Sorry, Goddard is also utilizing their coaches.
I guess the question I have
Yes, sir.
for Ms. Bueno is, so what are we going to do different for the kids that aren't on grade level? We spoke of the percentages that are on track. So what are we doing for the kids? I know every student learns different. So is there some type of game plan, or we still just stay in the course?
So the students, and I'm going to come back to this slide, for example. Okay, so if you look at 2nd grade on this slide, Mr. Bishop, so at the beginning of the year, we had 42% of our 2nd graders in reading that were 2 grade levels below. From here, each campus has this report that is tailored to their data. Each teacher then has their detailed data, and so my kiddos that fell in this percentage are the kids that I provide intervention to 3 times a week. A small group during intervention time, but also at the end of the math math period, right? So if you look at our scope and sequence, you look at our pacing, it gives you time at the end to pull kids for small group. And so you'll see from 42% to 26% now. So they are closing gaps because in second grade, just targeting second grade here, we had 42% of students 2 grade levels below. In middle of the year, we now only have 26%. So end of the year, we're hoping that that'll be way less than 26%. Then those students who are not on grade level, and if they do not have a disability, Mr. Bishop, they are going to be invited to summer school as well, so that we can target and try to close those gaps during summer school. But every teacher is required to provide intervention for their students using this exact data. So every campus principal will be able to show you a plan, right? So if I walk into a classroom and I want to see the third grade students or the first grade students who are receiving intervention, they have a data planner, and they also have their RTI, their response to intervention plans, that shows each student what they need and how many times they're coming to me in small group.
Last question on that, and that's good information. But you know, it's always the tough side of the coin. Once we get those students at that above percentage of where they're at, how do we maintain the ones that are there that they don't slip back? Is there a plan, or is it just continue to?
So tier 1 instruction. So the RTI is talking about tier 2 and tier 3 instruction. Tier 1 instruction is on grade level. And it is also, you should be teaching to the highest kid in your classroom. So about 45 minutes a day I dedicate to tier 1 instruction, ensuring that the kids that are already there are, one, excelling, but I'm also continuing teaching at that rigor. And then my small group instruction is where I'm pulling the kiddos that are not on grade level. What I do like and appreciate about the iReady platform is based on this data, and I know I said this earlier, if I had a kiddo that is a 5th grader and mastered the 5th grade exam, my personalized learning is now offering 6th grade TEKS or 7th grade TEKS. And the students do engage in the iReady platform a minimum of 60 minutes a week.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Bird.
I am encouraged by the kinder through really 5th grade. So we started, this is our second year of phonics, correct? Correct, so 1.5 years. So 3rd grade, so 4th graders would have had it last year. 5th grade would have had it their 3rd grade year, right?
No, we started, so our second graders are the first group that will have had it K1 and 2.
Did the 3rd graders have it that 1 year, though, of whatever it was?
Right.
Yeah, so they would be in 5th grade this year, right? Our first class. So those numbers are encouraging to me. The 8th grade is very concerning in reading and in math. You know, you can also possibly, they are in junior high, you don't know what they're doing as far as thinking wise on their tests, but if STAR's equal to that, then.
The unfortunate thing is those students didn't have the opportunity to be in phonics-based instruction, structured literacy, or have consistent curriculum back when they were in elementary.
Correct,
And so
correct.
we're working to.
And they were also, I hate to keep bringing up COVID, but they were in 2nd grade during COVID, which is a year that's very important to finish out. I mean, I even see it in my own grandkids that were in 1st grade. They don't have the skills that others, they missed that semester basically. So it's always catch up. But I am concerned about 8th grade.
Will you pull my first report up real quick? My spreadsheet. I just want to show you on board Go A. Blow that up. Scroll down to 7th and 8th grade, please. Will you blow it up a little bit more, please, DJ? Thank you. Okay, so if you look at 8th grade reading, our baseline was at 17% of students who met this target last year at the meets level. So we had 17% of 8th graders at the meets level. And our goal this year is 31%. I'm sorry, I can't see you right. Looking at 7th grade math. So our target this year was 31%. Right now, with middle of the year data, we are showing that 16% of students are at that meets level. I just wanted to show because it's two different data sets, and so just so we're not confused on the two data sets.
Go ahead.
If we look at it that way, then we only have social studies that's 8th grade that's off target. So even with those scores that we have, we're saying that we're going to meet the meets and above.
Right, so we're on target to meet our goal that we set at the beginning of the year.
Dr. Freeze?
So have we done iReady mid-year the last couple of years?
We did do it, but it was not consistent. So it was
Year over year, there's no year-over-year data?
I have data, but I will say last year it was hit or miss. We did not have the tight testing structures or environments that we put in place this year.
Well, you think it's meaningless?
It is,
Okay.
but it's a good start. I know where you're going, but for next year, we will have the solid data to compare year over year.
All right, so that would be very helpful, because it's hard to make meaning when you don't have year-over-year data. The 8th grade, I mean, we got half of our kids that are 3+ grades below. This is a crisis. Is there anything we can do? Granted, they missed phonics and all this great stuff, but I mean, this is just very sad. And you know.
So I will tell you
something. We can't have this. I don't know if we have to. Mr. Hodges made a great point. Maybe we should just no more sports for you all unless you get it together. You know, this is completely unacceptable, and it's going to harm them for life. We need to do something. This is a huge issue, and I just don't know that there's the urgency that I would really like to see.
I will say this.
Let me just say for the record, I did not say we were getting rid of sports. Brandon Hodges did not say that.
I said that it should be considered, given how we're failing these kids. This 3+ years, half of our kids 3+ years behind. I mean, we got to pull out all the stops. This is a crisis.
And I do agree. I believe it's an accountability piece as well. So Ms. McLean and Ms. Turan have been charged with addressing this issue because they are over junior highs. Now, when you look at their testing environments, Dr. Freeze, they did not provide tight testing environments like they should. So in elementary, our testing environments are very tight. Because we put that in place. With junior high students, it was a little bit more flexible, but they are now charged with addressing these, also ensuring that the kids are, during their double block or during their intervention time, that teachers are utilizing this data and pulling those TEKs to close those gaps.
The principals came in those 1 or 2 of those days we first came back this month, and iReady was here going over the reports, talking about how to use the reports and what kind of actions to take based on the data that they were seeing.
Ms. Burleson?
Have the junior highs considered utilizing the strategies that the elementary schools are using, as in interventions? You teach the lesson and then the kids go out into different classrooms for their intervention to really target these students?
So I would say 7th grade, so they're double blocked in 7th grade, right? So the 45 minutes, the first 45 minutes are tailored to Tier 1 instruction. Right, so that all students are receiving that instruction. Then the second block, it's targeted to intervention piece. So my kids who are already on grade level are working on that assignment from the Tier 1 instruction, or they're working on ahead, right? And so if they mastered some of the TEKs, they are working ahead. And then the teacher is pulling the kids that are falling behind or already behind, trying to close those gaps.
So I believe in one school I'd looked at, they combined classes to teach the Tier 1 instruction, and then they divided into different groups with different teachers to do the Tier 2, 3, 4. Kids in junior high know where they are. They know if they're failing or not, so this should not be upsetting to anyone to move classes, because you're moving classes to actually enhance their math or their reading, whatever it is, so they can actually get instructions. I realize that Tier 1 instruction is teaching everyone on grade level, but if you're 3 grade levels below, then that's probably going in one ear and out the other, possibly. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not here to tell anyone how to teach it, but I think the junior highs are going to have to look at something. It's going to have to change in what their instruction is.
Yes, and I will say, not sure if you remember, a lot of these kids that are in 8th grade, when you look at their star performance when they were 6th graders, when they moved up from elementary, they were at 65% meets. It is when they go into junior high that we are dropping them. So they come in at a certain level, and we're doing a better job of targeting that this year, but they come in at a certain level, and then you see that dip in 7th grade, and then you'll see an increase back in 8th grade. But we have also put a committee together as well with Ms. Turan to try to change that and ensure that they are utilizing a lot of the elementary practices. Sometimes our junior highs think, oh, that's an elementary thing to do, and we shouldn't have to require students to show work, and we shouldn't have to use this math strategy or this reading strategy. But we have changed that mindset, and actually it's not an option anymore. It is a requirement that you will use this, you will do this, instead of the flexibility that they were used to in junior high. Because it's not the students. If the students performed at a certain level in 6th grade, and then they come into 7th grade, it's not like they all of a sudden forgot what they learned in elementary up to junior high. So we are putting those tighter parameters on junior high with the adults in the building.
And that's why we made the change with Ms. McLean and Ms. Turan, because they have elementary experience and they supervise elementaries and bringing those best practices into the junior highs, as well as the double blocking that we're doing this year.
Hang on, Brandon, I have a question. You spoke like 4 times already. So this year was the first year we voted in this last spring to implement STEM scopes 6 through 8. How long, and this just from my own personal knowledge, how long does it typically take to really see results of aligning that curriculum like that?
So what we should see,
Normally.
President Gwynn, is our end of the year star results. 7th grade this year. It does not take year after year to meet those goals. So STEM scopes, remember, is a resource. The resource does not make or break you. It is the instruction. It is the instruction, the way the teacher leads that campus, the way that administrator leads that campus. But it is not the resource. I wish I could, say, if we bought this resource, all of our students would be at 80% meets. The most impactful thing in a classroom is the instruction that is delivered.
And Mr. Gwynn, I can give you an example. Last year was the first year we used K-5 STEM scopes. And last year, our 3rd grade math improved 3 points at the meets level just in 1 year of implementation. 4th grade math improved 5 points with 1 year of implementation. And Sixth grade math improved 2 points with 1 year of it. Well, they weren't using it. But we saw gains in that first year with some of the grade levels.
And I will just reiterate that that is why lesson internalization is so powerful. Because as a teacher, I have to internalize my lesson for the next day. I can no longer walk into a class and just try to throw something together, right? So if I'm being held accountable for my lesson internalization, that means I actually worked out the problems that I'm going to review tomorrow with my kids. And it's a daily thing, so you internalize your lessons every day. It does not take more than 20 minutes.
And the daily mastery trackers.
So if a teacher is not prepared, if they cannot internalize the lesson themselves, well, they can't instruct the next day or teach that lesson. So it's holding them accountable if they're all doing what they're supposed to be doing, and if principals are holding them accountable at that level.
Mr. Hodges, thank you.
So this is two parts. So the first one is, when did you said we cannot, the data that we have from last year is not good, right?
So I do have a report. I would say it's not valid, Mr. Hodges, and here's why. It was hit or miss. They did not have a tight testing schedule. Students could be interrupted to get up to go to PE, and that is not a testing environment, right?
So my question, this is more of a process for the board in the future going forward. So we based these goals on tests, information that we got last year that we're now saying we don't trust the validity of that testing.
So for K through second, no, sir. So what the goals here for K through second were based on beginning of the year data.
And the rest was STAR.
And the rest was last year's STAR. So as a third grade, right, so our third grade goals are based on our third graders' performance last year on STAR at the meets level.
She's talking about
Testing.
iReady.
So, yes, at the end of the year. Okay, we'll take this offline so I can understand that better. And then the second part of it is, so these kids are aging up into secondary school. Do we have any data that shows a correlation of the grade struggle with the discipline issues? Because I would think we've got, 31 elementary schools or what have you, and they're filtering down into our feeder schools. There's going to be some chaos created as far as some eddy, the velocity changes, right? So do we have any data that shows a separate policy that the administration would bring forth a recommendation or some options to the board to do based on state law, right, lawful, but some type of policy differential for the secondary schools as they're aging up versus elementaries or what have you, to make sure that, because I don't believe that all of our teachers are not doing a great job at junior high. You can be a great instructor, but if you can't instruct, then you can't give that instruction. So I'm just wondering if there's some way that we can look at the data and see if there's a correlation between discipline, which I think there's going to be. You bring the data to me and show me different, but 7th and 8th graders are Godspeed to all you parents of 7th and 8th graders. Been there, done that. But I think that should be something the board should look at.
I'll get that data for you.
As they age up, probably, I guess, from 5th grade now to 6th grade when we do grade reconfiguration.
I will work on that.
Is that a dumb idea?
No, and you brought up the grade reconfiguration at the state level, where we tend to see the dip is in 6th grade, because that's that first year into middle school. We tend to see that dip in 7th grade because that's the first year in that new secondary environment.
Well, we're doing worse in 8th grade.
Right.
Anyway, that's it.
Yes.
Thank you, President Glenn.
I think that's it, Ms. Bueno. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 9.4, report on short-term strategic plan related to special education. Dr. Howard.
Make sure she knows how to use it. Okay, I don't need the clicker. Mr. Gwynn, members of the board, tonight we're here to report on the short-term plan for special services. So back in November of 2025, in conjunction with the audit and program evaluation, we agreed that we would prepare a short-term and long-term strategic plan. The short-term plan comes to you tonight. The long-term plan will come to you in May. The short-term plan is going to address current organization chart, as we discussed in November, staffing and monitoring, key leadership and staffing duties, including responsibilities of principals, hiring an interim or final highly qualified special education director, and outlining measurable objectives to be achieved. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lisa Shockley. Ms. Shockley is the one conducting the audit, as well as Ms. Shockley is being contracted through the district to support and accelerate the work that we need to do in this area. So welcome, Ms. Shockley, to the podium. I'm not sure if you've met.
Thank you so much. I'm Lisa Shockley. It's nice to meet you all, President Gwynn and Dr. Howard and Aaron. Thank you all for inviting me to come and give you a brief update on the strategic plan. As Dr. Howard shared, the short-term strategic plan, and it really will kind of lead into a long-term plan as well. But there were some emerging themes, some overarching themes that have started to come out just in my campus visits and my visits with the current staff, working with Dr. Harmon, who has been extremely supportive of the work. And really just as I'm digging in and learning more about Midland ISD. So the emerging themes really fall into those 6 overarching categories that are shown on your slides. And the focus is to stabilize the system. First and foremost, we really want to have some stability in the department. We want to put some things in place to have an immediate positive impact on the special ed department and the district as a whole and on campuses. We want to align campus service delivery for special ed students.
Can maybe bring the microphone closer to you?
Sure.
It's a little harder to hear.
Sure. How's that? Okay. Aligning service delivery for special ed students across campuses across the district to be a little more consistent with how we're providing those services, implementation of IEPs and so on, and what does FAPE look like. It should be pretty consistent across the district. Looking at legal compliance and accountability, building the capacity of the leadership team, not only the special ed leadership team, but really the leadership team across the district and their understanding of what the requirements are for federal and state and local regulations and policies. And then formalizing processes across the district so that we, again, have some stability and some consistency, and we can identify those processes that are best practices. So the critical areas, we really highlighted some critical areas to make an immediate impact. The special education organizational chart has been updated. We continue to review that and align duties and responsibilities. Recommendations for reassigning some duties, certain responsibilities. This is all in motion. The work will continue. Alignment of duties, assignments, responsibilities will continue. Dr. Harmon and I are working very closely with each other, with Dr. Howard and Dr. Bueno, and then working with our special ed supervisors and specialists across the district. There has been a need for a procedure for how are we requesting staff across the district at campuses, both in the special ed department, district level, and on the campus level. Really working, having special education and the human resources department partner so that we can identify the true needs and providing the support at the campus level for those campuses that are in the greatest need at the time. We're looking at, for the special ed department, also some staffing guidelines that would be considered for equity across the district. We don't want to use just one basic staffing formula and say every campus gets 2 teachers and 2 paraprofessionals. That may not be appropriate for every campus. Some campuses may need more staff, some may need less. And so really looking at what our staffing guidelines are, how are we assigning the staff, and what are the metrics that we're using? How are we basing our assignments of staff on student needs and the provision of services? And then also campus walkthroughs. We really want to look at our specialized classrooms in particular to ensure that they're set up appropriately, that the teachers and the paraprofessionals are there providing those services to students, and that we are in our special ed classrooms seeing the high quality instruction that we would expect in any classroom. So I know that Ms. Bueno has worked on those campus visits, the campus walks. There are some expectations and accountability for the campus leadership and the special ed supervisors. They're on campuses daily, walking through our classrooms and ensuring that our specialists are, again, supporting those teachers and campuses where the need is the greatest. Looking at the leadership and accountability piece, immediate need was needed to deliver some training and some capacity building for administrators for discipline and behavior. The MDR training has been provided to campus administrators. Dr. Harmon has worked closely with campuses to make sure that that's happened. Special education will also start to be a standing agenda item on principal meetings so that we can continue to deliver best practices. What are those requirements based on the Code of Federal Regulations? What does TAC code say? What does the Texas Education Code say that we must do for students? And really to support campus administrators on the implementation of special ed on their campuses. Plans are also underway for developing rigorous training for district administrators for the summer of 2026 and also beginning of the year. 2026 in fall. And so we are looking at those professional learning opportunities and how we can build the capacity of our campus administrators and district level administrators for those purposes. And then for immediate stability and compliance, we looked at the CCEIS that would be our early intervening dollars based on significant disproportionality. And so I've worked closely with Dr. Harmon, and we continue to look at the allocation of those funds to ensure that we're addressing the significant disproportionality. We are also, a department procedure has been developed to ensure that all referrals, looking at the evaluation process, all referrals to special ed are now logged and tracked closely. This is also an area where reorganization of the special education org chart would need to take place. We really are looking at the identification of someone to oversee, a supervisor to oversee the evaluation process and that evaluation staff. And so that is a critical need that we have some ideas on how best to move forward. And so we're moving swiftly on that, and hopefully we'll make a decision soon about that individual. We do have our frontline system, which is our IEP database management system. We should be able to run reports out of that system so that we have the data at our fingertips and we know where are we with our compliance and the number of referrals by campus, our students qualifying as students with disabilities. And so we should have that data at our fingertips. I know that the department and the district continues to work with Frontline to make sure that our data is accurate and that we're able to get the information out of that. But we do have a backup system for tracking our referrals and our evaluation, which is an area of compliance that we really need to focus on and make sure that we continue the good work in that area. We are in the process of also creating a staff-to-student ratio by campus to see where our heaviest needs and our greatest needs on campus. And so we're working on, Dr. Harmon and myself are working on staffing guidelines and looking at those staff-to-student ratios by campus so that we can review regularly, weekly, as students move in and move out of the district, as students who are in the evaluation process are identified to receive special ed services. And do we need to shift and support some staff? Are there campuses with greater needs than other campuses? And so really looking at where are we having maybe too many staff members or not enough on one campus. And so really keeping an eye on that so that we can act immediately and quickly in identifying those needs for campuses. Again, the evaluation process should have clear oversight by an evaluation supervisor, and we are working on that, and we're drilling down to that. So that is really our brief update on the strategic plan and just some quick hits that we've been able to make in a short period of time. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 9.5, report of HB2 teacher certification requirements. Ms. Garcia.
Good evening, President President Gwynn. Habits die hard, right? President Gwynn, members of the board, and Dr. Howard. Tonight I have an information report that you will see next month as an action item. During the 89th legislative session, House Bill 2, which has been signed into law, eliminates the uncertified exemption for foundational subjects for districts of innovation. By the 26-27 school year, districts can no longer include DOI teachers in K-5 reading and math, and by the 27-28 school year, no DOI teachers are allowed in any foundational subjects for ELAR, math, science, and social studies. Due to the fact that this will cause a major disruption to operations for large school districts, approval to delay the implementation until the 29-30 school year can be sought through the commissioner. School districts must apply for the delay and seek board approval. To apply for a delay, school districts must submit their plan to the school board for approval and must submit their application to the board with board approval by March 2nd. The plan requires the total number of impacted staff, a minimum of 1 educator preparation partnership, a date of board approval, and links to the board meeting agenda and the board-approved plan. Tonight, we are informing you of our intent to seek this delay and review our initial plan. Midland ISD Human Capital has already started informing our uncertified teachers in the spring of 2025 and again in the fall of 2025. In-person required meetings were held in December for all uncertified teachers to inform all of them of the legislative requirements. Educator preparation programs, or EPPs, were available on site for all staff members to seek information and sign up. Human Capital will conduct one-to-one meetings starting in the spring with all uncertified teachers to ensure they are aware of the timeline and have started their process toward certification. Midland ISD currently has 208 DOI teachers teaching in foundational subject areas. This makes up about 16% of our teaching staff. To get to 0 by 29-30, We intend to reduce the number of uncertified DOI teachers by approximately 5% each year. You can see how many teachers this would impact at the elementary, secondary level each year on the graph. Midland ISD is currently partnering with the University of Texas Permian Basin. We're also very grateful to the Scarborough Foundation for their recent donation on behalf of Midland ISD. UTPB recently received $1.95 million to offset the cost of certification and degrees for our staff members who are seeking degrees and certification. We know that the need for certified teachers is greater than our community can provide, and we've been working on expanding our EPP partnerships. This month, we had an MOU with Grand Canyon University and one with Texas Tech University as part of the consent agenda you just approved. Last fall, you approved an MOU with West Texas A&M for a similar partnership. We will continue to seek more partnerships in order to recruit certified teachers from across the state. Finally, in addition to the plan, we're offering additional supports. We have heavily invested in Grow Your Own for the past 3 years. We've started an educator and training program through our CTE pathway, so high school students can seek to become teachers. We've started a registered apprenticeship pathway for our paraprofessionals to earn certification and a degree. And we also provide teacher residency programs through Opportunity Culture and UTPB, allowing seniors to serve in a 1-year paid internship while they complete their degree and certification. In addition to the pathways that we've created, we're offering additional supports that include monthly training, on-the-job training, wraparound services such as academic counseling, accountability, just holding them accountable for their progress towards their certification. We've recently been awarded technical assistance through CREW and Dallas College. We're one of only 5 cohorts across the state that is receiving the support. And we will also be providing test preparation for our DOI teachers to become certified. At this time, I'd love to answer any questions you may have. You will again see this report as an action item next month.
Mr. Gwinnett?
Go ahead.
Question if I may. How does this impact our 1882 schools that don't have certified teachers? Does this impact them as well?
This does not impact our partnership schools. This is only for the ISDs.
Thank you.
So if I'm reading this right, 208 is how many uncertified teachers we have now?
We have more. Those are DOI teachers that are serving in reading, math, science, or social studies classes. We have about 295 overall DOI teachers.
So they can still teach like
CTE, welding, fine arts, other electives.
Have we visited with these teachers and told them what the expectation is moving?
Yes, sir. We've met with them. We've been trying to get teachers certified for years. So we've been working with them since I took over human capital in last year, January of last year. And so we've been working with them as of this spring of last year. We met with them again in the fall. December, we had face-to-face meetings, and we are currently scheduling one-to-one meetings with every single DOI teacher to make sure that they get the one-to-one support that they need, to make sure that they understand the need for certification to be able to be in compliance with this law.
I know it looks good on paper, right? Everybody wants a certified teacher, but realistically, how do you see that impacting MISD in 3-4 years from now?
This is why it's very important that we put together this plan and let you know that this is coming, and when we seek your approval next month. Districts of our size, especially in communities like ours that are rural, we do struggle with recruiting certified teachers that want to come live here. That is why we've invested heavily in Grow Your Own. We know that this is a big cliff that we're going to have to, if we do not look at this plan as a reality, this is a cliff where we're going to have to fill 300 positions, approximately 208 positions next year. We know that there's just no way we can recruit 208 certified teachers for math, reading, science, and social studies by August of 2026.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
I can put 6 gallons of water in a 5-gallon bucket on a piece of paper as well. That don't mean it works in the real world, you know?
Well, and Mr. Gwynn, I want to add on to that. One of the challenges that we've faced for years, and I'm going to say probably 10 or so years, is colleges of ed or advisors at the college level. You know, if a student says, I want to be a teacher, they say, well, just get your degree and then you can go through alternative certification. A recent study that came out is now showing that intersection of about 50% of the teachers in Texas are coming to us from teacher prep programs, 50% are going into alternative certification programs. So the number continues to climb. Those that graduate, then they go back and seek that certification rather than going to school to be prepared to be a teacher. And so that's why they grow our own. And then the other side of that is, I do want to point out another point you made. Some of these 208 DOI teachers are effective enough that they're receiving teacher incentive allotment money. And so those are the conversations we're having with them. We want to make sure that they can get through their certification and stay in those grade levels, especially those that are being very effective with the students. So it would kind of, I would kind of question at the state level, if a teacher is receiving TIA money, why could that not be used in lieu of that certification? You know, because they award that TIA money to highly effective teachers.
Well, they're good enough to get a bonus, they're just not good enough to stay, right?
Right.
I think it's, me personally, I like the theory behind it, because it pushes teachers are professionals, right? So when they get their certificate, it's just like that kind of final stamp. But I don't think that piece of paper makes you a good teacher. This is out of my hands, right? It's a state law.
Right. And that's why we're asking for, and we'll be recommending or asking for your approval next month for this phase-in plan, because in reality, it can't be done in 1 year, and I expect many districts are going to ask for this waiver. But what we do want to do is continue to keep our eye on it and work towards that. And it's just kind of like AYP years ago. You know, that was 100% at one point, but it went away before we got to that school year. So,
Mr. Hodges? Or
the science of reading, are there any exemptions in there to where you can give them, they can go through their certification because there's a way to circumvent it with science of reading or what have you, where they've already done it, and then they just sit for certifications right off their hours?
not at this time.
The state is releasing new guidance on what they're going to be looking at for certification in the future. They're going to have different certification types, but certification is still a requirement, and science of teaching reading is still a requirement.
But our DOI teachers go through the science of teaching reading.
Correct.
Thank you.
Dr. Freeze? Oh, sorry, Ms.
So about, this is kind of, I want to kind of pull in Dr. Howard into this conversation also here. About a week or two ago, I kind of asked for monthly HR reports and had all these things I asked for, and then I realized this isn't appropriate. So, but how can we as a board, I mean, we could create policy to get monthly HR reports with what we would like to see, so we can track things and see, you know, all these different categories and where we're at in the grade levels and all this stuff. But, you know, you've also kind of talked about how you're working towards something. So what do you all see where we could, you know,
I have an answer.
kind of start that up where, you know, the board can relay what we would like to see as a board, not as an individual member, but as a board, but, you know, and how would it work for you the best?
Data drives behaviors. So we know we have to track data. The system, when I took over in January of 2025, the system that I inherited was very difficult to track anything. The program that we have was built in 1980. And it does not have, I've done a lot of research, and it does not have the capabilities to have dashboards and data tracking tools. That doesn't require the HR team to spend hours manually calculating. When you are working with numbers this high and certifications, you need a program that collects all that data for you. That is the reason why we are going through this ERP change and implementation, because we need a tool that can track this information much easier for us. I want to be able to provide you data in a way that is comprehensible, in a way that is accurate, in a way that I know is going to give you the information you need so that you can make informed decisions, because I need that as well to be able to make informed decisions. So we are working on setting that system up right now. We're planning on going live officially in June and July when we finalize all of the pieces that need to happen. Until then, I'm still manually tracking a lot of information. But when we convert over to the new system will be able to collect all of our systems in finance and HR and student information systems will all speak the same language because it will all be under the same umbrella, and we will be able to track data much easier and be able to provide you reports in a much more frequent format and know that the data is accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Burleson?
This isn't on here, but I'm just wondering, is special services, do they have to be certified in special needs to be a teacher in special? Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure that was not a DOI thing. One more, this is more a comment, not a question, but shows the importance of advocacy for our board because state legislators are making decisions that they don't know the numbers on. If the colleges are not graduating teachers, how are we going to get teachers across the entire state of Texas that are certified teachers? That's a problem that school districts are going to have a problem when this comes about in 2029.
Ms. Burleson, let me add a little to that. Dr. Howard and I talk about this all the time in conversations that we have, but in the past, that used to be something that 10, 15 years ago we did not worry about. That has now become a responsibility of districts, is to take more of a driver's seat in helping recruit candidates and getting candidates across the board. All of those supports that I showed in that last slide about our Grow Your Own initiatives, those are there specifically for that reason, because we no longer can wait for the colleges to provide us certified teachers. We are having to take actions. We are having to invest district funding in finding ways to support teachers to get across that finish line. So,
and thank you, Jess, that's a great point. And those are topics that we did have conversation with Representative Craddock and Senator Sparks about last session, as well as with the commissioner. And there are and I don't remember which bill it is, but it does, because we made that very argument. We are in the education prep program more than we've ever been. And so there are some allotments now that when we get Grow Our Own, when we get DOI or associate teachers over that finish line, then there's money that follows that. Because we argued the very fact that we have departments of people now developing teachers, supporting them through this work and coordinating the work that used to was done at the college level, university level. So that is something we have absolutely worked on.
Anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Moving on to agenda item 9.6, 2526 local improvement plans for Burnett Elementary, Goddard Junior High, Henderson, and Jones Elementary. Ms. McLean, welcome.
Good evening, President Gwynn, members of the board, and Dr. Howard. We are here tonight to present the 2526 local improvement plans for Burnett Elementary, Goddard Junior High, Henderson Elementary, and Jones Elementary. These campuses are identified as targeted support, additional support, or have received a D rating for 1 to 3 years. Local improvement plans are required to be maintained at the campus level and do not require board approval. If any of these campuses are selected to submit a local improvement plan to the Texas Education Agency, they may substitute their campus improvement plans that were board approved back in August. Each campus plan includes measurable goals, progress indicators, and monitoring systems supported by district and campus dashboards, ensuring ongoing adjustments and targeted support throughout the school year. Just to be clear, The campuses who have already submitted a targeted improvement plan or turnaround plan are not required to submit a local improvement plan. And this item is presented for informational purposes only and does not require board action. The local improvement plans align with board-adopted mission and district improvement processes under AE Local and BQ Local. Each plan focuses on high-quality instructional materials, strong Tier 1 instruction, progress towards student outcome goals, and data-informed decision-making. So seen here is how campuses are identified to submit a local improvement plan. So the first one is under federal accountability, campuses identified for targeted support and improvement, or TSI, as well as additional targeted support, or ATS, are required to engage in formal school improvement processes to address identified performance gaps for specific student groups who have missed targets in the same 3 areas for 3 consecutive years. Under state accountability, any school district or campus assigned a 2025 accountability rating of a D with the count of 0 to 2 years is also required to participate in an improvement planning process. In addition to the goals and strategies already discussed, each local improvement plan must clearly outline how implementation will be monitored. Again, all current campus improvement plans include the same information, which identifies who is responsible for monitoring progress, how often the plan is reviewed, and the structures used to update progress and communicate results to stakeholders. Each plan also specifies the data sources campus leaders will use to track progress. These data sources are intentionally aligned to the plan's goals, metrics, and milestones. Finally, the plan includes designated fields to record ongoing data, ensuring strategy is implemented with fidelity and that student outcomes remain on track throughout the year. Now we will hear from our campuses. They will provide a brief overview of how they have implemented the strategies and interventions for the identified student groups within their local improvement plans.
Good evening, President Gwynn, members of the board, and Dr. Howard. My name is Mrs. Torres-Borrego. I'm the assistant principal at Burnett Elementary and am filling in for our principal, Ms. Julie Barraza. I'd like to take a moment to speak specifically to STAR Domain 3, closing the gaps, and an area we have identified as a priority at Burnett Elementary. Over multiple accountability cycles, our data indicates that Burnett has consistently underperformed in Domain 3 within our white student subpopulation. While we have seen incremental improvement over time, both academic achievement and academic growth in reading and mathematics for this group remains below state targets. This persistent gap has directly impacted our overall Domain 3 performance and requires intentional and sustained action. Through our campus improvement plan process, we conducted a deep analysis of this data and identified the need for more targeted instruction, consistent progress monitoring, and increased student ownership of learning. As a result, Burnett Elementary has formally identified the white student subpopulation as a focus group for targeted support and improvement. In response, we have implemented several strategic actions aligned to this need. These include targeted after-school interventions and tutorials, small group instructions focused on identified areas of academic need, and structured student goal setting to increase accountability and ownership. Additionally, teachers are using strategic seating arrangements to support ongoing progress monitoring, timely feedback. At each grade level, specific students within this subpopulation have been identified to ensure continuous monitoring, intervention, and enrichment as needed. These actions are not isolated efforts. They are embedded into daily instructions, data review cycles, and teacher planning, and are directly aligned to improving academic achievement and academic growth while closing the gaps reflected in Domain 3. Our goal is to ensure that all students across every subpopulation have equitable access to instruction and the opportunity to meet or exceed grade level expectations. We remain committed to monitoring progress closely and adjusting supports as needed to improve outcomes for this student group and strengthen our overall accountability results. While we are very strategic in how we identify and monitor student subpopulations for accountability purposes, the supports provided are the same high-quality supports offered to all students at Burnett Elementary. Our expectation is that all teachers teach with excellence to all students every day, because excellence is not selective, and at Burnett Elementary, excellence, it is the standard.
Good evening, I'm Dr. Maxine Gonzalez, proud Henderson principal. Our campus has graduated from comprehensive support to targeted support and improvement in this school year based on last year's data. So our identified group based on that data is our students who receive special education services. 17% of Henderson students qualify for special education services. So one thing that we are doing to support this work is we have a data card for each of our students at Henderson, and we have indicators on data cards that quickly at a glance our teachers can look at, and we look at them after each assessment and determine which students are progressing, which students are not, and what are we going to do in response to that ongoing assessment that we are doing, the ongoing analyzation. So we utilize our opportunity culture coaches to co-teach daily to increase the number of teachers that are coached by a highly qualified teacher, as well as the number of students who are in front of or being served by a highly qualified teacher. Ms. Burleson spoke to that a little bit earlier about this model, and so this is a daily practice at Henderson that we found to be very effective last school year, and so that work continues. This school year, we've strategically staffed our resource classrooms where each teacher focuses on one content area versus both teachers teaching both. So one teacher teaches reading all day to our special education students, and the other resource teacher focuses on math. So that was one strategy that we implemented, and while our work last school year through Holdsworth began our journey to provide targeted supports for specific groups of students, that work continues because we still fell short in a couple of areas, and we continue the work that we know is working for us with our specific sub-pops. We currently have student trackers that teachers carry on their clipboard daily. Their active monitoring trackers with their student list on them have specific coding so that they know which students are a question away, 2 questions away. They are naming their laps, and they're specifically checking in on what we call hotspots to ensure that those students, if they're not on track, they're intervening prior to that daily exit ticket to ensure that we are intervening early and quickly versus waiting for the longer cycle assessments to do something about that data. Our special education students have protected Tier 1 instructional time to meet that part of their service plan that states that they are exposed to the grade level TEKS. But also, so they're not missing that protected Tier 1 instructional time to learn with their peers, but they also have the provided services for small group instruction throughout their instructional day so that their personalized needs are being met as well, just to close those learning gaps.
Good evening, esteemed board members and Dr. Howard. My name is Yadira Prado. I'm the interim principal at Jones Elementary. Jones has been identified as a targeted support and improvement campus with a focused need to improve outcomes for one of our most critical student groups, our special education students. Currently, 18% of our students receive special education services, and we are committed to ensuring every student receives the support they need to grow academically. This year, we brought in Gloria Rivera, our Texas Color Bands consultant. She has trained our campus on the accountability system and how to disaggregate student data in order to monitor growth and target instruction more effectively. During PLCs, teachers use data walls with visible colored student data cards to identify student groups and respond with targeted instructional supports. In addition, we utilize our opportunity culture teacher coaches to provide targeted coaching that strengthens Tier 1 instruction and classroom practices. We strategically utilize our special education teachers to focus on either reading or math, rather than teaching both content areas, in order to provide a stronger targeted instruction. We also offer before and after school tutoring to close academic gaps. We regularly review data trackers and student goals, adjusting supports as needed to ensure students continue progressing. Through teacher and student data talks after each assessment, students set goals and take ownership of their learning. Together, these systems ensure every student with a high focus on special education population receives the right support at the right time to accelerate growth and improve outcomes. Thank you for your continued support as we work to improve student success for every learner at Jones Elementary. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Howard and members of the board. My name is Maria Mancio, and I'm the proud principal at Goddard Junior High. Today, I'll be walking you through our current progress at Goddard Junior High as it relates to our local improvement plan. I'll focus on 3 areas: where are our students performing now, what we are doing instructionally to improve those outcomes, and how we are ensuring students are supported by high-quality teachers. First table shows our student performance at the meets grade level standard. This means students are on track for success in the next grade level. These percentages reflect our STAR percentages from last year. We recently took our fall benchmark exams, which are giving us an early snapshot of where our students are at this midpoint of the year. Those results indicate that we are well on track to meeting some of those targeted goals regarding board goal A and B. To increase student growth and achievement, we have 3 areas of focus that I want to focus on. One of our primary strategies this semester is targeted morning intervention based on data, especially for what we call our bubble students, those who are very close to meeting grade level. We focused on the low-performing math and English standards that are highly tested. These student groups will be rotating every 2 to 3 weeks based on multiple points of data so that intervention remains precise and responsive. The goal is to move students across the meets threshold before spring STAR testing. We have Think It Up Tuesdays, after-school targeted intervention for our EB population. That's designed to improve their English speaking, listening, reading, and writing proficiency. And this is especially important for meeting the needs of our English learners since they are our identified student group. Our strong core classroom instruction is critical right now. We're committed to ensuring that teachers receive job-embedded feedback through frequent walkthroughs and coaching conversations. Each week, we share campus look-fors with our teachers, very clear directions, active monitoring, and the use of exemplars. When adjustments are needed, feedback is documented, so teachers receive that timely, specific support. This feedback is focusing on instructional clarity, student engagement, and alignment to grade level standards. This allows instruction to be adjusted in real time rather than waiting until the testing season. The purpose is for growth and support, not just compliance. We maintain consistent instructional expectations across the campus. which are continuously communicated to staff and followed up through those walkthroughs and coaching conferences. We offer professional development every Wednesday afternoon that is directly tied to student performance data and instructional trends that we observe. For example, if our look for includes active monitoring during lessons, we will provide that training for teachers in that area. And it's very focused and intentional. Certain teachers are invited to different PDs with either an MCL or a department chair, depending on what the need is that week. PLCs and coaching sessions with MCLs focus on strengthening daily classroom instruction. Teachers meet regularly in PLCs, that is daily. We use that data to identify where those teachers are and the students so that we can provide that additional support. During PLCs, teachers are analyzing actual student work, not just scores. They discuss what meets and master responses should look like and plan lessons that align to those expectations. This ensures consistent rigor across every classroom. Strong instructional practices truly do make a difference in student success. The strategies that we have put in place this year are working, and we remain committed to intentionally building a culture of excellence, the Raider way. Thank you.
This includes our presentation for this month. I do want to add that next month we are going to bring 4 more campuses to share their local improvement plans, and that's going to be Alamo, Franks, Pease, and Legacy High. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thanks. No questions, I'm assuming. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 9.7, discuss the parent-teacher PTA contributions supporting students in schools. Dr. Freeze.
Thank you, President Gwynn. So I put this on the agenda to recognize the positive role that PTAs play in supporting students, teachers, and campus culture. PTA leaders are often highly visible and trusted by parents and are frequently viewed as authority figures and points of help. Because of this influence, I believe this board values the importance of PTA leaders taking extra care to remain neutral, stay out of internal campus matters, and avoid actions or messages that interfere with principals, teachers, or classroom instruction. I believe this board strongly supports positive PTA partnerships while also prioritizing uninterrupted instruction and clear lines of authority. So I was fortunate enough to meet with PTA leadership and discuss with them some of the real positive things that the PTA contributes. And I'll list a few of these here briefly, and then I have a few questions for Dr. Howard. So family engagement events, teacher support through classroom supply grants, appreciation events, recognitions, staff lounges, student enrichment, all kinds of assemblies, cultural events, community building activities, connecting families with local resources in the community, and serving as a communication bridge by alerting principals to parent concerns. So these are all really healthy, good things that the PTA contributes. I would go so far as to say that they're more recognized on campus, obviously, than we are, and maybe by many of district administration. And they are really key. We've seen some of these numbers that we just really got to get up, and I really believe that the PTA is a key part of our whole community. So I cannot support it enough. So I kind of want to talk to Dr. Howard a little bit. In our next meeting in a month, we're going to be putting on kind of some board constraints, and I kind of want to take this opportunity to say, there's some things that the board, like when we go into schools, we need to follow certain procedures and policies and protocols, and respect instruction time and principal time, and also respect the chain of authority in the MISD district. And I hope our board can kind of set an example of that, not only in having policies, but so that, maybe the PTA can kind of consider, what we're going to try to do as far as that goes. So I guess, Dr. Howard, with that, I kind of would like to get some of your thoughts, and I would kind of like you to start off maybe by explaining the proper role of PTA leaders compared to the authority of principals, teachers, and district administrators.
So, and I was able to visit with the PTA leaders today. We had our Midland Council PTA presidents meeting, and so that happens almost every month. That's our principals coming together, our presidents coming together. And, you know, we're fortunate in Midland to have a Midland Council PTA. That is not the norm across the other districts I've been in. I've been in many districts where just trying to get PTA started wasn't easy because it wasn't in place. And I truly believe in the role of the PTA and was fortunate the 9 years I was a principal to have outstanding PTA presidents and members, and they just did so much. But I think the key is, to Dr. Freese's point, is that collaboration with the principal. And one of the things we ask our principals to do is sit down with their presidents, you know, in the spring when a new president's elected, before school starts, and come to some common consensus about, you know, what the campus needs, and then work with the PTA to support that work and possibly raise funds or volunteers or whatever the case may be. I'll say that happens, you know, in almost every place, and we provide training at the beginning of the year for our PTA presidents and board members. We have reiterated some of those expectations, and I went over those today, to always coordinate with the principal. The principal is the leader there, and they need to know what's going on, and they need to approve what's going on, and make sure that that aligns with the work that they're doing. We've also reminded our PTAs that anytime they're doing something that involves the media, they have to clear that through communications. Our principals know that, but we wanted to remind our PTA presidents of that as well. So if they have some event they're inviting media to make sure that they're coordinating that. And then how to handle concerns. I talked about my experience and I've shared this with our PTA, Midland Council PTA, every year since I've been back in the district. One of the things they can do that's most helpful to a principal is when they have a question, come ask the question. So that they can, you know, help answer those questions. And to Dr. Freese's point, they many times are very well known, and people are asking them questions because they assume they know more than anyone else would, because they tend to spend more time on the campus. I also reminded the presidents today that just because a concern is brought to them doesn't mean that it's something that the principal will change. Sometimes people don't like things, but, you know, I use an example. You know, high school has a tardy policy, and somebody may not like that, but that doesn't mean we're going to change that tardy policy. And so it's just having those conversations, and then also remembering that the role of the principal is probably the hardest job in the district, and the support from the PTA is really important, because we want them to make that job easier, not more difficult. And then, of course, reminded them of visiting campuses, you know, making sure that they're checking in. Those are safety and security issues as well. But then also not interrupting classroom time, instructional time, and always coordinating any of those activities and visits with the campus principal.
I got maybe one or two more questions. So what steps can principals do and the district take to keep PTA leaders from being drawn into staff disputes or professional conflicts?
I think it's, you know, at the beginning of the year, having those conversations. We cover that during our trainings, and we iterated that again today. In most cases, that's handled really well. And, you know, the thing I told presidents today, you know, if they visit with a campus principal and they still have concerns and they don't know who to talk to next, they can always reach out to me, and I'll make sure that the appropriate person figures out what's going on and gets to the bottom of that.
Okay, that's all I have. So.
Go ahead, Brent.
I just have a quick statement. I would like to thank our new president, Mr. President Josh Gwynn. He set the bar real high and reached an olive branch out to the PTA today. And I'm glad that you brought up the PTA and put this on the agenda, because I bought the Platinum VIP package or what have you. And I found out that that gives me voting rights. So I look forward to going to the PTA meetings and becoming a very intricate part to all the PTA meetings. Need to read the bylaws and see proxies and just make every one of those meetings. But anyway, thank you very much for doing that. That's something I didn't do, and I think that is mighty fine of you, sir.
For the record, I wouldn't have even known about it probably if Dr. Howard wouldn't have told me. But I did go and I did learn something. They're a little over, I think Ms. Collins is sitting back there. Shake your head if I'm right. Y'all need every PTA to have 8 more members sign up to hit your yearly goal. So spread the word, tell your friends.
This month, right? Yeah.
Principals, bribe your employees. They're not above bribery. They just need 7,500 members to meet their goal. So, Mr. Ron, I see you smiling. You're the principal supervisor. You can make it happen. We need 100% employee engagement in the PTA registration. There you go. Threw you a bone.
Look forward to seeing you to some PTA meetings.
Mr. Hernandez asked for a 10-minute break. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Reconvene at, let's say 15 minutes, 7:55. Does that work? Yeah. The time is now 7:56 and the board is reconvening. Moving on to action item 10.1, discussion of and request for approval of budget amendment number 6. Mr. Durham.
Good evening, President Gwynn, trustees, and Dr. Howard. This evening, the district is bringing budget amendment number 6 before the board. As I've mentioned in the past, the school board approves 3 different budgets on an annual basis: the general fund, the child nutrition fund, and the debt service fund at the functional level. If there are any budget transfers from one function to another, it requires board approval. This budget amendment only moves budgeted funds from one function to another in order to better categorize and help ensure budget owners are able to address their needs, and it does not change the overall budget. And so at this time, the administration recommends the Board of Trustees adopt the budget amendment number 6 as presented.
Any questions? Do I have a motion?
I move.
It's been moved. It has been moved and seconded for the approval of discussion, or of action item 10.1, discussion of and request for approval of budget amendment number 6. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Moving on to action item 10.2, discussion of and request for approval of amendment to request for proposal RFP number 23-359, heating, venting, and cooling services, parts, repairs, supplies. Mr. Taylor.
Good evening, President Gwynn, members of the board, and Dr. Howard. RFP 23-359 for HVAC services, parts, repairs, and supplies was approved by the board on March 19th, 2024, with an estimated annual expenditure of $750,000. This amendment is necessary due to an increased volume of services required and a higher cost associated with HVAC parts and supplies. In many instances, due to the age of the equipment, repair parts are no longer available, which requires the replacement of these aging units. For an example, just this week, a unit could not be repaired because parts weren't available, and we are currently awaiting a quote for a full replacement. Therefore, approval is requested to increase the estimated annual expenditure to $1,500,000, utilizing budgeted local funds. If there are any questions, I'll take them. Yes, sir.
Mr. Hodges.
I just have a quick question. So I just think, and this is for the board to consider for putting in a policy or some type of update on it, but the board would like to get some type of update, I think, on the age of some of these HVAC units, because if you go back prior to even when you were here for sure and Howard was just coming into it, the board's replaced a lot of these HVAC units or what have you, so I think it would be not necessarily at the meeting, but wherever, come up with some type of policy to give like a quarterly report and age out those machines, because when we're talking about HVAC, we're usually talking about millions of dollars, and then link it to the deferred maintenance. So which campus, which unit has had deferred maintenance on it, and $3,000 issue has now turned down to, you know, new $300,000, $400,000 boiler or something like that. But because it's a lot of work, right? It's not a hair on fire, do it tonight, but I think for board governance purposes going forward, that it's very important for facilities to be able to start. There's just no reason that you shouldn't have a preventative maintenance index to be able to list out when it was, and there's already one there, right? So just build upon it, because I think it's important for these board members in the future to be able to notice something. But thank you for your work, and you have a lot of work ahead of you.
Thank you.
Mr.
I
Bishop.
think Mr. Hodges brings a value point, and that's what I was going to speak on as far as on the preventive maintenance. You know, having a track or a database saying that after 3 years or 4 years or whatever that case may be on the preventive maintenance, when we start looking at replacing versus waiting till they break and then having to buy parts to try to replace them. So I think if we were on a program, not to say that we're not, and you just getting here, so I know it's something you're probably accustomed to or know about, as far as that this don't be an additional cost trying to do repairs if we have a program in place.
I will look into that.
Burleson.
Yeah, I think we all were on the same track on this, in that if there's I think that what we want to see is that we're not replaced, that we don't have 20 of them that are going to go out in the next year. I mean, we need them spread out. And because boards change, it's important for every board to have that same information, because we're not all going to be here forever. And so 5 years from now, say a year from now, you could replace, we have an election in November, so there could be three new board members you don't know. So again, you're starting over with, you know, HVACs coming in and no one has the same schedule. So I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Durham about this one earlier, and just so I'm clear on this, this doesn't mean we're going to spend $750,000 tomorrow. This is, we're at our limit on the first RFQ, or RFP, sorry, and this is just increasing that ceiling, right?
Yes, sir, that is correct. It is not increasing the overall budget by any means. It's already budgeted funds. What it's doing is it's increasing the board-approved amount for $750,000 to $1.5 million for this year and subsequent years. The only time we'll actually ever utilize these services and the RFP is for absolute needs. As Mr. Taylor said, we have had some issues. I know, I believe it was at Alamo, we're slated to replace a boiler for approximately $260,000 during spring break. And so it's in order for us to remain in compliance and not putting us in a bind because we're at our threshold and we're no longer able to address emergencies as they arise.
Thank you.
So essentially, to President Gwynn's point, so we're just approving to increase access to commercial credit. We're raising the debt ceiling, so you can not have to come to the board for another $750,000, in case you need to all of a sudden go buy an entire new HVAC system?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, I'm against that.
And y'all may have talked about this today because I had to step out and go to another meeting, but if this is scheduled work within the bond, it can be funded that way. Is that correct?
That is correct. A lot of the work that is directly related to this RFP is not related to any bond expenses. Most of the HVAC units that are addressed in the bond are coming through separate RFPs that are coming before the board.
Ms. Burleson?
Yeah, so from being in a classroom, they always go out at the most inopportune time, either in the heat or in the coldest of colds. So that's why we want for you to be able to go fix them when they need to be fixed is what we're asking for.
Dr. Freeze?
So, I got a couple questions. Do you think, so, this kind of went in line with the HR thing where I wish we had really, comprehensive reports. And so here's another situation where it'd be nice to have reports on the state of repair or disrepair in the district. Is there any, this is a kind of a question to anyone, is there any, would we want to put that into policy or do we?
Yes.
So maybe we can work on some kind of policy on reporting for.
Yeah, I think the board needs to, just to step in, I think the board as a whole, as a body corporate at some time at a workshop, or probably do a specific workshop on maintenance, because these items keep coming up, and I know I've been on the board for 3 years, and we've asked for these maintenance programs, some type of, and Mr. Bishop has as well. This isn't the first time we've talked about it. Now we're raising another $750,000 to have access to commercial paper, so we don't have to wait. And we don't even know what we've got. And there was a big transition gap when Kelly Spencer was here. She was the interim facilities person she was the facilities person and then interim superintendent. And there was a lot of bond stuff going on. And so there's all these campuses had new HVAC systems put on them. Some of them, not all, let me rephrase, but there's confusion in what has what, when it was put in, the deferred maintenance. And there just needs to be a program put into it. Once y'all bring a program back, I mean, I've only asked for it like 10 times, but once we see some type of progress on that, then I'll vote for another access to $750,000. But until then, I'm a no.
So I got a question for y'all. What's the consequence of a no vote if we vote this down? Could you please?
If approval is not provided tonight, then anything that breaks in the meantime will have to be deferred. Specifically, this RFP is good until March the 18th, I believe, and so the extension would start on March the 19th. However, we do have some projects right now slated to happen, and so we would have to cancel them until after the 19th.
You know, you're one of my favorite people, but I'm just going to shoot it back to you. Same thing my parents told me. Poor planning on your part, not getting me the material that I've requested for 3 years doesn't make it an emergency on mine. All due respect.
One of the things, a couple of years ago, we had a regular board reporting calendar where periodically different reports would come to the board and report items like this. An update on transportation, for example, the number of fleet we have, what kind of fleet, the age of the fleet, things like that. And then, a decision was made because the meetings can get long to move those to attachments in the weekly updates. So we can definitely put together and pull that back out and put that together. As far as the deferred maintenance and the schedules, Mr. Cedillo's the constant in this group, so let's make sure we get that out tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you can even put it on the information items at the bottom to where everybody has access to it.
Right.
Not necessarily do a presentation, but just everybody has it.
Is there any way we could start working on policy for reporting this?
Yes.
I would like to, start working on that very soon, so.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I guess so. So tonight you're asking for what you guys just talked about. So you needing that approval possibly because y'all already have something now that's at a precedent need to be done as we speak?
Yes, sir. One of those items specifically is the Alamo boiler.
Okay, so if we don't move on this, then that puts us behind the 8 ball at Alamo.
That would be correct.
Okay.
Can I butt on to it?
Go ahead.
So my question would be, you said the extension starts March 19th, so it's what, January? So you don't think y'all could come to the board with some type of a basic outline before that got into a crisis mode for us to call a special meeting and vote to approve for $750,000 that you're asking for without a plan? I mean, if I was in your shoes and my boss said, I'll approve $750,000 if you bring me a plan, I would say yes, but I'm not you.
Well, I guess the question I'm after is we have a campus, and I understand there's emergencies and things that come to play. I mean, whether it's in the school industry, whether it's in the oil field, things happen, and it's not at our mercy most times when those things happen. But if we don't, then we put one of our campuses behind the 8 ball on some equipment or something that needs to be fixed now and not in March, if that's a fair statement.
But we wouldn't be behind the 8 ball if we got it done quickly, right?
Well, and I understand that, Mr. Hodges, but I see too that this gentleman just came on board. I mean, so he's trying to still get his feet under him as well. And I'm not going to fault anybody. I'm just saying.
I agree. Yes, sir. I wasn't trying to be burdensome, but welcome to NASCAR, this Formula One racing. It's a much bigger $400 million annual budget, $1.41 billion voter-approved bond. Welcome to the NFL. You know, you're asking for $750,000, and I don't see a plan. I'm just telling you, it's with all due respect. I'm just saying, I've asked for this for a long time, and there hasn't been any movement on it, so I'm going to no vote every type of increase until we see a plan, because it's not that I'm choosing to do that. I've been put in a position by not having any actions or any of those things brought forth to just vote no until there has to be a consequence for the action to change.
Mr. Green, I move that we accept the recommendation from the...
I got a motion. Do I have a second? It has been moved and seconded for the approval of action item 10.1, discussion of and request for approval of amendment to request for proposal
10.2.
Yeah, 10.2, that's what I said, isn't it? Oh, 10.2, sorry. Discussion of and request for approval of amendment to request for proposal RFP number 23-359, heating, venting, and cooling HVAC services, parts, repairs, supplies. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? 6-1, motion passes.
And we will work on that and get that to you.
Moving on to action item 10.3, discussion of and request for approval of guaranteed maximum price number 2 for the 2023 bond program, package number 3, elementary group A, Franks, Emerson, Lamar, Long, Parker, Houston South, and Travis Elementary Schools. Presenter, Park Hill.
President Gwynn, Dr. Howard, and members of the school board, as discussed in my update, we bring tonight the GMP 2 for package 3 elementary schools. Cirrus Construction is the construction manager that was selected back in 2024. They are currently working on GMP 1, which is the sprinklers, and tonight would be approving them to complete the additions and renovations of those same projects for GMP 2 for a total amount of $14,218,210, and that would be included in the 2023 bond program budget.
Any questions?
I move to approve.
Second. It has been motioned and seconded to approve action item 10.3, discussion of and request for approval of guaranteed maximum price number 2 for the 2023 bond program, package number 3, elementary group A, Franks, Emerson, Lamar, Long, Parker, Houston South, and Travis Elementaries. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion passes. Moving on to agenda item 10.4, discussion of and approval of reimbursement agreement and related Second Amendment to the pipeline right-of-way agreement between Midland ISD and Energy Transfer for the relocation of pipelines at the new Midland High School site. Presenter Park Hill, Mr. Edwards.
Good evening, President Gwynn, board members, and Dr. Howard. I'm pleased to bring to you two documents tonight for your consideration. The first being a reimbursement agreement between Midland ISD and Energy Transfer for the relocation of pipelines at the new Midland High School site, and the second will be a related amendment to the right-of-way for the pipeline. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments, anything? Got a motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
It has been motioned and seconded to approve action item 10.4, discussion and approval of reimbursement agreement related Second Amendment to the pipeline right-of-way agreement between Midland ISD and Energy Transfer for the relocation of pipelines at the new Midland High School site. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion passes. Moving on to action item 10.5, discussion of and possible action on the 2011 District Memorandum of Understanding with Midland County regarding student discipline and juvenile justice alternative education program in the 2026-27 school year. Presented Ms. Horner. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President Gwynn, trustees, and Dr. Howard. Tonight, I'm here to provide context and support continued discussion regarding the district's 2011 Memorandum of Understanding with Midland County related to student discipline and the Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program, or JJAEP, as we plan for the 26-27 school year. A little bit of history regarding that MOU. The district has operated under the 2011 MOU that waived Midland County's responsibility to operate a JJAEP for Midland County students. Given the evolving statutory interpretations, operational realities, and fiscal considerations, that agreement warrants formal review. Since the fall of 2025, the district and county have engaged in a series of deliberate steps to revisit the structure, responsibilities, and feasibility of a JJAP partnership. In October, on the 27th, the district leadership, board members, and community partners conducted a site visit of a potential JJAP site. In December of 25, last month, I brought to the board information regarding offenses eligible to be served in a JJAP. This helped clarify the scope of the potential placements. During this same period, a fiscal analysis was completed to evaluate the projected cost, funding responsibilities, and potential financial impacts associated with the JJAP operations. Following this work, a draft MOU was developed to reflect the current statutory expectations, operational considerations, and fiscal impacts. On January 12th, that draft was shared with Judge Johnson from Midland County, and on January 14th, I met with Judge Detman to discuss both the 2011 MOU and the draft agreement. The purpose of tonight's agenda item is to support continued discussion and consideration for possible action related to the 2011 MOU and potential partnership with Midland County for a JJAEP. No immediate action is required this evening unless directed by the board.
I do want to clarify why we met with Judge Detman, or why Melissa met with him. That 2011 agreement had Judge Peeler as the juvenile board chair. And so I reached out to Judge Johnson to ask who that was now, and it was Judge Detman. And so that's why we were meeting with him, because he serves in that role of the person that is over the Juvenile Justice Board.
Mr. President, I have a couple motions to consider.
Does anybody have any questions, comments? Go ahead, Dr. Freeze.
Motion number one, I move that the district immediately terminate effective for the 2026-2027 school year, the Midland ISD District Memorandum of Understanding with Midland County regarding student discipline for the 2026-2027 school year.
Do I have a second? It has been motioned and seconded. Can I see that, Dr. Freed? Because I need to read that back, right?
Sure.
It has been motioned and seconded for the approval that the district immediately terminate effective for the 2026-27 school year, the Midland ISD District Memorandum of Understanding with Midland County regarding student discipline for the 2026-2027 school year. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion passes.
All right, we'll get to motion two. I move that the board authorize the superintendent and board council to take all legal and operational actions necessary to coordinate with Midland County in operating a juvenile justice alternative education program beginning with the 2026-2027 school year in compliance with Texas law.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Ms. Burleson has a question.
Think about my question here. So they told us in the other letter, Detman said that that they wouldn't have to do this, correct? Because of the 2020 census. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So I guess my concern is that everyone in Midland knows that we are no longer 2020 Midland. I mean, 2000 Midland is when it was actually, 2000 Midland. Yeah, in 2000. So 26 years ago, Midland is not what it is now.
116,000, yeah, then. 116,000 then.
116,000 then. So even if legally it says that, we all know that Midland is not 116,000 people anymore. So
It's roughly 165,000.
Yeah.
I looked at the census.
So as a community, I think that it's important that we acknowledge that and find help for these students, these kids who once expelled are on the street, and that's not good for Midland either, for them not to be going to school somewhere. So I think it's imperative that the entire community addresses this issue of educating these kids, because uneducated, we have larger problems than that with these kids down the road as they get even older, even though most of them are probably going to be fairly old when they go into the JJAEP. But it's a community issue that must be addressed. So I agree.
Mr. Hernandez?
I agree with Ms. Burleson. I've been approached by other people asking me, well, how are you going to hire enough teachers? I believe I discussed this with Dr. Howard. That's not going to be an issue. We should have a sufficient number of teachers and paraprofessionals. A word out to the public. We're going to need one regardless of what some people's opinions are. The problem won't go away by just turning away and saying, well, maybe it'll fix itself. No, a JJEP is definitely needed. It is not a want. Being in the law enforcement business for 37 years, I don't think we can wait any longer. I think it needs to be addressed immediately and as quickly as we can get going. To just sit there and twiddle your thumbs is not an option. If somebody says, well, we need to wait for the next census, well, hey, guess what? It's going to be a whole lot worse by then. Right. I think we need to jump on it, and I agree with Ms. Burleson in that regard.
And this is not just a Midland ISD need, it's a county need. We have other school districts within the county. We have other campuses within the county that are not part of an ISD. And we see students served at Culver in the detention center that are not just Midland ISD students. It truly is a community issue.
Mr. Rogers? Oh, you're scratching. Sorry, I
No,
just
no, no,
I saw your hand in the corner of my. Oh, go
Did
ahead.
you calling me? I couldn't hear.
Yeah, you're good.
So I'm not an attorney and this is not legal advice, but so according to Texas Administration Code, or the way that I infer it, section 348.200, Program Administration Organization, this section directly addresses the MOU requirement, overall program structure, ensuring alignment with Texas Education Code section 37.011K. So the mission of the JJAP, the policies and procedures of the JJAP, but where my confusion comes in is on the MOU itself, because the way that I understand it to be, the juvenile board must annually enter into an MOU with each participating school district, and that MOU must address items listed in Texas Education Code section 37.011K, such as responsibilities for JJAP establishment, funding, placements for serious behavior, term lengths, transition services, transportation, and special education provisions. And since this was originally done in 2011, and I know of no annual meeting that the district or the board has, I can only speak for me sitting as a board member since 2022, but I have not been made aware, Dr. Howard has not been made aware, I can't speak for anyone else, but has anybody else been aware of an annual meeting? Therefore, I think that we don't have a choice other than to get out of this MOU so people can come together to come up with a long-term plan that better suits our students. So that's where that's.
And we have sent a draft MOU to establish a JJAP that addresses all of those components you just listed.
Between the education code and the administrative code, there's a lot that we need to have a meeting of the minds on.
And again, it's not just Midland ISD, it's Midland County. Midland County, anyone that's in Midland County.
The MOU that we sent was specific to Midland ISD. Of course, if the county opens that up to additional districts and schools and things like that, we would have to work together with them on, because if we're going to provide the teacher, then there would be an agreement of some sort where they're paying a fee to send students there, you know, it would become a more complex MOU. But those are things that Melissa's already been thinking about and working on.
Anybody else?
Got one more question, or one more.
Go ahead.
So if they've been charged with an offense that is eligible for JJAEP, can the judge require that they attend school?
It is for non-mandatory expulsions as well as mandatory expulsions.
Mandatory expulsions would fall under serving in JJAP. I do think there is an instance where a judge can automatically send a student to JJAP, but what involves us are those mandatory expellable offenses.
So I guess maybe my question is, because a lot of these kids that end up in that program have not been attending school very regularly. They're absent a lot. It's mandatory that they have to attend?
So these students,
These are felonies.
on mandatory offenses, these are typically felony offenses. So these students are either on juvenile probation or they're on adult probation. And so that is going to be up to that juvenile justice board and then the adult probation. If they're in violation of probation, which I would expect would require them to be in school, that's something that's up to the judge and the probation officers. That's really out of our hands at that point.
Yeah, this is not in place, if I understand the code correctly, and I'm not an attorney and this is not legal advice, but this is for felonious behavior such as the rapists, murderers, attempted murderers, robbers, things of that nature, like the kid, you know, the allegations with the murder that happened at the DK store. So it's, I think, imperative for us to separate those kids, you know, from the general population.
Anyone else? It has been moved and seconded that the board authorize the superintendent and board council to take all legal and operational actions necessary to coordinate with Midland County in operating a juvenile justice alternative education program beginning the 26-27 school year in compliance with Texas law. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous, motion passes. Moving on to agenda item 11, closed session. In accordance with Government Code Section 551.001, Section 551071, for the purpose of private consultation with the board's attorneys on any and all subjects regarding all matters authorized by law. Section 551072, for the purpose of private consultation with the board's attorneys regarding the discussion of property. And 551074, for the purposes and consideration of the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of public officer or employee, to hear complaints or charges against a public officer or employee, including discussion and consideration of the superintendent's annual appraisal and contract. The time is now 8:29, and we'll go into closed session. The time is now 11:01 p.m. The board is reconvening out of closed session. Moving on to action item 13, discussion of and possible approval of the superintendent's contract. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move to authorize the board president and the superintendent to finalize and execute the superintendent's contract extension as negotiated by the board in closed session.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to authorize the board president and the superintendent to finalize and execute the superintendent's contract extension as negotiated by the board in closed session. All those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 7-0. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is item 15, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
The meeting is adjourned at 11:03 p.m.